This is Nate Turner from Ernest Inc. And he is the note guy out of Canada, the Canada note guy. And so I'm going to do a little interview. We're going to tell a little bit about what he's been doing and what he's been up to and how he got there, which is real good. And so, Nate, I'll let you. How'd you get here? How'd you start? We'll start with the start.
It all goes back 2008, and a friend of mine was out in California. He had networked into a group of people where they had bought a portfolio of properties, mostly in the Midwest. The problem was they bought in April of 2007, so right at the height, top peak summit of the market. So they way overpaid. So by 2008, they were in panic mode, and they came to my partner, and he came to me and says, "Hey, we've got all this garbage. Can you do anything with it?" And I said, "Yeah, let's give it a shot." My background came from house flipping. I was flying across the country doing flips across the country, where I'd pack up my tools and go out there for a week or two and work like crazy and come home. And most times I had it sold before I even came home, so I did pretty well with that. So that was my experience dealing with things remotely and still being able to do it successfully. So he called me and we came up with what we thought was a really smart thing to do, selling houses based on monthly payments rather than doing rentals or anything else. We were actually going to sell these houses on a monthly payment plan, kind of like you would sell a car or something like that. That was our idea. And we had some, moderate success. The houses were in really bad shape, so that was a challenge for us. But it kind of gave us.
So what you did was you took and you're not going to be able to get your money back up front. So you're going to get your money back over a long period of time, but you're going to get your money back.
Yes.
So that's what your philosophy was?
That was our idea, just to because the houses were in such bad shape, we thought this is the best way to be able to actually recoup anything at all. They were in bad shape and they'd overpaid, so they were prepared for a loss. We were just trying to minimize that loss as much as possible.
Yeah, sure. So you went. How did you get from there into notes? Did you guys hear about notes? What?
Yeah. It was actually, I started doing some research because I was looking for an outlet of where we could sell these loans that we'd created. Didn't even think of them as loans really, but we thought there's got to be a way to sell these loans off.
Okay.
Started doing some research and came across a Noteworthy conference. I thought, that sounds a lot like what I'm doing. And
so that's where you and I met first time. Yeah.
My very first one was in 2009, I think, in Louisiana, where they did it in New Orleans that one year. And it was a blast, and I learned a ton. I was introduced to a world that I didn't know existed, where everything that I was doing, people understood what we were doing, and it was good kind of refreshing to be surrounded with that kind of crowd.
Yeah.
So that was the start of it, and then 2010 started by non-performing, and still with the same mindset where we were going to take back the property and then do our seller financing deal. And the further I've gone along, the further I've realized I would much rather deal with paper than properties.
So you got out of being a landlord, and now you're a loan lord.
Yeah.
And so you're not taking care of the tenants, the termites, or toilets, or anything like that.
No.
And you've got your system set up. This is kind of a secret market, or
it is.
The secondary market is a secret market, and that's what we mainly deal in.
Right.
And this side of it is really fascinating. Honestly,
it is
real estate market.
And part of what I really like about it is I'm continually learning things, and there's always something more. Sometimes it even just depends on the county. Forget about the state.
Yeah.
Like certain counties have their own little intricacies. Which are sometimes fun and sometimes frustrating, but it's a learning experience either way. And the more you know, the better you can do this. So you just keep going, keep learning, and hopefully keep improving.
So what are you doing with these loans now? So are you packaging these loans up? Are you keeping loans?
I consider myself in the note business. I've created a note business. I wouldn't consider myself a note investor. A note investor is somebody who's going to buy these, get them reperforming, and keep them long term. That's not me. I'm looking to buy them. I want to get a good deal up front, and then to me, I don't care if I need to foreclose and take back a property and sell it, or if I get it reperforming and then I sell a reperforming note. Whatever way it goes, I'm going to make money, so that's fine. So as long as I can get a good deal up front. Foreclosure happens. It's not uncommon at all. Most of the time, it's if the property's already vacant.
So
otherwise,
do you target the vacant properties? Or you target? No, you're
I
just
target good deals.
you're looking at the deal. You're looking at the end. You're looking at speculating on
Right,
what it's going to cost you
speculating.
for attorney's fees, and of
Yeah.
course you've checked and did as much due diligence as you could for
Right.
everything. Okay.
And I have a pretty good sense of what the attorney's going to cost me up front and things like that. So I go into it with, some expectation of where this note's going to go. Part of the fun of notes is I can be going down one path and all of a sudden it shifts. And to me, that's fun. And I think it's kind of the fun.
So you're working these yourself, you and your wife. You guys are a team.
Yeah.
You've got your system set up.
Yeah.
And you and your wife are working these on your own.
My wife is really the.
I'm proud of you. That's awesome.
She's the organizer.
Ah, okay.
The organizer, she was the bookkeeper. We actually gave that away this last year, which has been great. But just she's the meticulous person that makes sure she's helped me figure out systems. We'll put it that way. And then she is great for just bouncing off ideas. She's a smart girl. So, and then I'm the workhorse. I just go to it and get it done.
Is that right? You're the nuts and bolts guy, eh?
Yeah. Whatever needs to get done, I get it done.
All right. Wonderful.
Yeah.
Awesome. And what the states? What's your favorite market states?
I like a lot of states, but probably some of my top ones. Texas is great, partially because if I need to foreclose, it's relatively fast. Another reason I like Texas is markets in Texas, almost across the board, are going up. So it's not uncommon for me to, if I take back a house, for example, if I put it on the market, it's not uncommon to get over asking, which is always my favorite. So I like Texas for that. One of the hidden gems, I think, is Missouri. I don't know that a whole lot of people consider Missouri as a great place to invest.
I've not looked very much at Missouri.
I really like it. Foreclosures are quite quick. So if it comes to that, then I know I can get out of it quickly.
Ah,
But I really like Missouri. It's good.
awesome.
Who knew?
Who knew? Do you do anything in New Jersey, New York? I've heard about those
I
struggle
don't.
states, and
I don't, and really because I'm a note business guy, I'm looking to get in and out as quickly as possible. So I'm always looking at my worst case scenario, which is foreclosure. So if I have to go to foreclosure in New York or New Jersey, it's too long. It can drag out for much too long. I'm looking for foreclosure timelines of maybe 6 months or less. So that kind of excludes a couple of those states.
Okay.
I've heard, and I haven't been brave enough to try it out, but I've heard that outside of the New York City area, foreclosures are a lot faster. But like I say, I haven't been brave enough to try it.
Yeah. You haven't given it a shot yet.
Not yet.
All right.
We'll see.
Well, so this is what you're doing, and you've kind of. So how many different paths did you take before you boiled it down to this is what I want to do?
That's a good question. So like I said, I started out with creating notes. That was a big part of what I did for a long time. I went to work for a hedge fund for a year and selling notes.
I remember that.
And that was a thing. I'm not a salesman. It's just not something I enjoy doing. So what I ended up doing actually is my wife and I were just talking about it, and I was getting kind of frustrated with the sales thing. I didn't enjoy it. I wasn't having a lot of fun. And so I was on a trip, about a 6-hour trip we were on, and halfway through we stopped at a friend's house, and they said, I was just kind of unloading on him a little bit, I'm not liking it, I'm not making a lot of money, I don't like doing this. And he asked me, well, what do you want to do? And I couldn't answer him. And so I was a little dumbfounded, and we slept over at their place. The next day, got back on the road. And for the next 3.5, 4 hours of the trip, my wife got out her pad of paper and a pen and says, okay, so what do you want to do? And it just kind of came out, and I said, well, this is what I would do. I'd buy notes, and I'd get investors, and
Wow.
and this is how I would structure it, and this is what I would do, and like the whole time, you know. And if I was going to teach a class, this is what I would teach, and this is how I would teach it, and this is what I would charge, and like everything, just kind of unloaded. So by the end of the trip, we were going to her parents' place. In the last 10 minutes, we sat in the driveway just to finish it up, and that's it. And that's what I'm doing now. And I've never had so much fun, and I've never made so much money. So,
And so now, tell me about you got into speaking. You know, you want to talk about it and stuff.
Yeah.
So, you got into speaking. What did you do? You started going to meetups. I think you and I talked about that.
it started with meetups.
Okay.
I've been approached by a few different people about marketing, and I tell them, you know what, I thank you, I'm good.
Yeah.
Really, the marketing that I've done is speaking, and really that's it. I started with a couple of different meetup groups in different cities, and just put it out there. This is what I do. Come and learn about it if you want to. And I go and do a meetup group for typically they last about 2 hours. First 45 minutes or so, I just kind of talk about notes and how it works. And then the next hour and a half, I would just answer questions. And that was the way that I got investors to begin with, besides my own family. And then I kind of went from there. And then I would go to different conferences and just say, hey, you're looking for a speaker? And they'd say, sure. And so that's it. And then
Is that right?
Yeah.
You got to be that confident.
Yeah, and you know, at first it was kind of scary, but I actually really enjoy speaking.
Yeah, there's that transitional thing. Right.
But I enjoy speaking, so it's been fun for me, and part of it also is it helps kind of organize my thoughts about everything, because I can talk about it randomly for all kinds of time, but when you're forced to do it as a presentation, I have to organize it in a way that's going to make sense for anybody else.
Sure.
So it helped kind of refine the way I talk about it to other people, and so that's been a big help. And then again, as more I speak to individuals at conferences, the more I've got that credibility built up kind of automatically because I'm a speaker. And then they'll approach me and say, hey, it sounds really good. Can I give you some money to work with? Absolutely.
Yeah, I'm not so sure that I wouldn't stumble over myself.
Right.
I'm proud of you, man. You're doing good.
That's been a lot of fun. I've really enjoyed it.
Is that right?
Yeah, it's been
That's good.
Been great.
So now we've got down a little bit about your journey and where you got to where you're at right now. And you're going to be where I am in, and you're going to be a speaker here. Are you going to be on a panel, or are you going to be the sole speaker? What are you doing?
It's me and one other fellow, and for this conference, we're talking about growing your business. So getting to 50 notes and beyond. So just how to build up your portfolio. It's a great conference to be at because there are a few new people, but more than that, there's the big guys, and it's a great time to network with them and hopefully get some more sources of notes and things like that.
Yeah.
That's my real goal.
All right. Well, hey, we're going to talk about some of the other stuff later on.
Sure.
And some other time we'll hook up and we'll do this again.
Sounds great.
I've got enough video right now. I'll cut this up and put it on the net.
Excellent. Okay.
Man, it was great talking to you and catching up, man.
I appreciate it. Thank you.